Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has begun to clear outstanding foreign currency forwards owed to banks. CBN spokesperson Isah Abdulmumin disclosed this, saying that around 14 banks had already received payment. The amount of overdue forward payments is estimated at about $6.7 billion, according to government officials. Clearing that backlog has weighed on the Naira, which fell to a record low of almost 1,000 per dollar on the official market this week. The payments from the central bank come after Finance Minister Wale Edun declared in October that Nigeria was anticipating $10 billion in inflows to increase the liquidity of the foreign exchange market. And now joining me on the news to further discuss this is CEO, Apt Securities and Funds, Kassimu Garba Kurfi. Thank you so much, Kassimu Garba, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Kurfi. Now, according to sources, the Central Bank of Nigeria has fulfilled its obligations of more than 75 to 80% of the outstanding Forex forwards that have matured, of course, in the banks. So is it time to bring out the drums and celebrate?
It is. If you remember recently, some of the banks were unable to establish letter of credit because were rejected by the foreign suppliers. The reason is that their foreign exchange anticipated from CBN couldn't have delivered, and therefore they failed to meet up their obligations. By so doing now, most of the bank will be able to meet up their obligation of letter of credit, so no more rejection by any employer. And this is a good development. And if they continue this way, I think even the demand for the foreign exchange, because we believe some of the speculators are there, may start stepping down, and that will be good for the Naira.
Right. All right, Mr. Kurfi, how would you say that, or to what extent would you say that this is important for the move for the overall economy and, of course, the financial market?
Well, a banking sector and credibility of the banking sector is a must for any sensible economy. We cannot be proud if others are rejecting our letter of credit, and therefore the integrity of our banks are questionable. But once they supply this, as of today, CBN have released over $1 billion. And therefore, banks are now washed with their foreign exchange, and those who decided to keep their foreign exchange in the bank, they commit of their obligation. Because it reached a point where you kept your dollar in banks, you cannot get it because they don't have enough. But now all this will go, and the issue of buying dollar and keeping it at home should go, and those that have confidence of the banking will now arise because they commit of their obligations, and therefore the whole this devaluation of Naira may stop or put a halt from now to the end of the year, and there and then you expect the foreign investors inflow, because the devaluation of Naira really scare the foreign investors coming into the country, because they don't mind whatever the gain they may make, but the devaluation of Naira will erode whatever the gain they might have got in the other investment. But with stability, it enables us to plan and to encourage foreign investors to come. And therefore, it's a welcome development for our market, and it's better for the Naira.
All right. Would you say that this will affect Nigeria's credit risk profile, as well as its ability to get trade finance from banks that act as correspondents?
Yes, it will. Remember that already the London Stock Exchange, they have already discontinued with the Nigerian capital market from the frontier. And the Morgan Stanley Capital Index, which is from the US, they put us on the watch list from now to December. And this is a very dangerous trend, because if we continue getting this kind of report from the foreign investors, it will scare the foreign investors play into our capital market. But we need them. So therefore, with this stability, they may decide to change it and let Nigeria return their position as a frontier market, and that will attract more inflow of the foreign exchange, and more investors may play in our market, either in the equity or foreign direct investment. So it's a welcome development, and it's better for the economy. And if the government wants to meet up 1 trillion gross income, that is the GDP of 1 trillion from 500 billion, that is double. We need to double our investment in all the sectors. oil, mining, road, railway, electricity, and what have you. And you cannot get this investment with the local currency. We need foreign currency because we need to import a lot of the infrastructures to enhance the level of the one that we have so that we meet our expectation. So it's a welcome development and it's going to be good for the economy.
Okay, now, Mr. Kurfi, there have been suggestions that only foreign institutions like the Standard Chartered, the Citibank, the Stanbic IBTC have received a settlement. Can we confirm the veracity of this claim?
The CBN said that 14 banks. So 14 banks, you look at it. Most of the forward contracts are done by the foreign banks. The Stanbic, the Standard Chartered, the Citibank, they are more into forward exchange contract. Most of the Nigerian banks doesn't do that. But even those that have their dollar deposited with CBN, now they have get the payment back. Because I believe that if we are talking of the rejection of the letter of credit, not that of Citibank or Standard Chartered or Stanbic, because they have foreign affiliation, nobody will reject their letter of credit. So if there is any rejection of the letter of credit, it's likely has to do with the Nigerian bank. And since we are talking of 14, you just mentioned 3. What of the 11? So the 11 might have been the other one that have got there also inflow of the foreign exchange, and that will make their letter of credit to be more credible, and people will be willing and ready to deal with us.
So under these circumstances, how does this affect the domestic banks?
Well, you see, the domestic bank, they are the one that highly heated when the rejection of the letter of credit. Now they have got enough dollar that will continue to meet up their obligation with the letter of credit. And if they do so, those who decided to also deposit their foreign exchange with the Nigerian banks, now they can get their inflow. Before, if you deposit $25,000, you go to the bank, they are trying to give you $2,000 to $3,000 out of 25,000. This is bad. But now you can get 50% or more of what you have deposited. And that gives confidence. And you will see that most of the people who want to run away to withdraw their dollar, they may not need it anymore. They prepare to keep it because they are sure as when due, they can collect their dollar with the local banks. So it is a welcome development, and it will give the confidence of the depositors and the investors to deal with the Nigerian bank.
All right, CEO, Apt Securities and Funds, Kassimu Garba Kurfi, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me.